All hail the beard, it's your boy Big Beard B, and we back for another edition of Big Beard Business. Today's video comes by way of subscriber choice, and I really thought that this was an interesting topic, so here we are today. As you can see from the title, today we're going to be talking about 5 inexpensive or cheap fragrances that get respect from fragrance collectors. Listen, I've said this time and time again, collecting fragrances can become quite expensive, especially if you're living on the niche side of things or if you have a large fragrance collection. Now, there are a number of ways to kind of lower the prices on your fragrances in terms of what you are getting, but it can get quite expensive. So I thought that this video really made sense, especially for a lot of you out there who are just getting into fragrances and don't want to spend those higher price points. As I already stated, today we're going to go over 5 cheap, inexpensive fragrances that get respect from fragrance collectors. Now, this first fragrance is one that comes from an expensive company, but the prices on this thing isn't really bad at all. Now, when I first came across this fragrance years and years ago, it was not released in the US, and I saw this on fragrance review channels way before I thought about doing this, and I almost paid a resale price on this thing just to get it, and it went like well over 200 bucks for it. But today you can find this one for well under $50, and this one is Bentley for Men Intense. Now, you've seen this fragrance before, and really the good thing about this fragrance is that it has a good quality smell along with it, and that's what I would expect from a company like Bentley. Obviously they are into cars, but they also have furniture, which is also quite expensive, but this fragrance here really fits the Bentley brand. Personally, when I think about the Bentley auto brand, I think of luxury, sophistication, class, elegance, and this fragrance really embodies all of those things. This one is this darker resinous fragrance, but it has some sweetness to it as well, and a punch of tobacco within the scent. This is a really good scent for the fall and winter months. So if you're looking for an inexpensive, classy fragrance, then set your sight on this one, Bentley Intense for Men. Now, the next fragrance on this list is one that is somewhat of a legend in the fragrance world, and if you're not into fragrances, you would never know this. This fragrance can be found at discounters all across the world in terms of Marshalls, JCPenney's, etc. for a really low price. You can also probably find this thing at a local drugstore. But in the fragrance world here on YouTube, this fragrance does get a ton of praise, and it can be picked up for the low. The fragrance comes from Nautica, and this one is Nautical Voyage. Now, Nautical Voyage is a completely opposite take on fragrances than we saw with Bentley Intense. This fragrance is light, it's uplifting, it's sporty, and it also has this creamy-esque feel to it. So you have this creamy vibe, you have some cedarwood, some musk in this thing, and it also comes off as a manly man scent that has a sporty vibe. This is a fragrance that you can wear fresh out of the shower and get away with it, and you are going to be good to go. This fragrance is very inoffensive, and one that I think a lot of people have enjoyed, which is why it has that legendary feel out here. If you're looking for a cheapie that lasts and is fresh, Nautical Voyage is a fragrance that you should be checking out. The next fragrance on this list is one that I'm not a super fan of, but if you type this in, you're gonna find a lot of people out there in the fragrance world who really enjoy this fragrance. Therefore, it's on today's list. This one comes from Montblanc, and this one is Montblanc Individual. Now, this fragrance here is one that gets a lot of praise out there, and I can see why. You get some raspberry in this fragrance, you also get some amber, you get musk, you get patchouli, you get dark chocolate, a lot of notes that really resonate with people. I did a review on this one years and years ago. I'm saying it like it was that long ago, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. This fragrance is one that it's okay for me, and I like it less now than I did back then. This fragrance is one that gets a lot of love, and I can understand why. It has moderate sillage, good projection on this thing, and it's a fragrance that is relatively enjoyable. To me, this one kind of comes off as something that is almost like these dryer sheets or something of that nature, so it has this cozy aspect to it. But nonetheless, this is a fragrance that gets a massive amounts of love and respect from those in the fragrance community. So if you're just starting out and you want to have a fragrance that you could talk about, that people will know and be able to engage in conversation with you about it, and also get a little respect from a great company, nonetheless, Montblanc Individual. This next fragrance kind of falls in the same category as the previous fragrance that we mentioned, but this fragrance, again, is one that is loved and respected by a lot of people out there, be it fragrance reviewers, fragrance collectors, or just the casual fragrance wearer. This fragrance can be a year-round fragrance, and it also comes from a respected company in terms of fashion, and this fragrance is F Black by Ferragamo. Now, I kind of had to brush the dust off of this fragrance here because I have not used this one much in a long time. There are some great things about this fragrance. Again, this one is a fragrance that can be worn all year round, and definitely one that you can dress up. This one has a spicier approach to it, and I think that within this fragrance, that depth and dimension, that classiness about this fragrance is one of the things that links people to this fragrance, and especially the inexpensive price point, and also you have the name and brand recognition with a company like Ferragamo. This is one that has apple, you have coriander, you have tonka in this thing. Just is a fragrance that gets a lot of love, and I can see why that this fragrance is loved and respected by many. Ferragamo F Black is on today's list. And since we're talking about the Ferragamo line, we might as well talk about this next fragrance, and this one is Ferragamo Fomo. Now, this fragrance smells a lot more expensive than it actually is, and it's just a gourmand fragrance. So if you know anything about me, then you know that I am a fan of gourmand scents, but this one actually does smell really nice. This one has this note of tiramisu in this, or this accord of tiramisu, and it comes off to smell super delicious. Personally, when I smell this scent, I feel like I can almost taste it. The tiramisu is definitely alive and well in this fragrance, and within that, there's this almost coffee aspect that brings this darkness to the fragrance. It's right there in the backbone. However, there's this uplifting side of this fragrance here as it comes down to that orange blossom and those other fresh notes in this thing that just really make it pop. Now, as I've mentioned a number of times in this video, I am a fan of gourmand fragrances, and this is one of those that really work in the fall and winter as it has this warm, cozy-esque feel to it, and it's a fragrance that I feel like you can spray on, and that special someone who's around you is going to want to nestle up around you. This fragrance is one that I haven't recommended a ton, but when I do recommend it, it's really for good cuddle buddy activities, those sessions, and this one does have this luxurious smell and feel to it. Now, what I'll say about this fragrance, as well as the other 4 fragrances that we talked about in today's video, is that all of these fragrances really come off as smooth, elegant fragrances. Often when you talk about, cheap or inexpensive fragrances, sometimes they come off to smell cheap and expensive, but this is why these videos are so important, because you can really get high quality fragrances for a low cost. And really, a lot of these fragrances smell like they should be more, or at least at the retail prices of what they are. And now that you can fetch these on the gray market or out there in discounters in terms of stores like Marshall's or Burlington, etc., these fragrances are easier finds out there. And again, for the price points, I think you will be really happy with these fragrances. Now, you can't find all of them in those type of stores, but you can at least find them at discounters, and again, at prices that aren't super outrageous. So those are 5 fragrances I believe that will earn you some respect from fragrance collectors out there. These fragrances aren't super well known to the masses outside of Fragcom, so I think that if you have these fragrances within your collection, people who are into fragrances will know you know a little bit about a little bit in terms of these fragrances. So those are 5 I have for you. If you have any additional fragrances, we would love to know. Comment down below, leave them listed, linked, where you can get it from, etc., because I think this is important when it comes to jumping into the fragrance game or saving a little coin. Listen, the holidays are coming up, and some of you want to get fragrances for friends and family members. Check these fragrances out. 5 fragrances fragrance collectors will respect. As always, I'm your boy, Big Beard B. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend, and we are back again. And you already know what I need you to do. Just hit the goddamn bell.